let's start talking about what's going on. So, just hopped onto the charts just a minute ago, and first thing I noticed, I looked at a 5-minute time frame. The first thing I noticed was this 5-minute breaker here, and I was looking to see like where did we test, what level did we trade into. We never traded into the breaker, but you can see we had this fair value gap up here in the 5-minute that we did trade into, and look at that bounce off that level right there. So that's a pretty good bullish breaker here that we can see on the 5-minute. Obviously, I just hopped on, just saw it, so didn't take it or anything like that. But I like looking back and noticing moves like this. We see price keeps expanding back to the upside. But anyways, let's go to the daily time frame real quick. First thing I want to point out on a daily time frame, obviously yesterday we had that huge drop, big bearish day. But the first thing I want to point out is looking at ES compared to NQ. ES also had a very bearish day, but it came down into that daily fair value gap and it respected it, while NQ came all the way down here and disrespected the fair value gap. So a little bit of SMT, and we can look at some higher time frames or some lower time frames, and we can see what lows did NQ take. Wow, I can't speak right now. What lows did NQ take that ES maybe did not take, right? So we can start looking at those levels. And we are pumping pretty hard already. Since last night, we have pretty much only been bullish. So remember, on a weekly time frame, our weekly objective originally was that high going into that fair value gap. Now, I wouldn't say anymore that we're going to reach that high. I wouldn't expect us today to reach that high, but overall in the week, I did want to see us get there. What we are doing, though, is we are creating a weekly bullish fair value gap down here. So that I would expect next week for us to trade back into that weekly, come back down, and then bounce, and then finally go back up into that weekly SIBI up top. Okay, so let's just go down to a 4-hour time frame real quick. We have this big 4-hour bearish fair value gap that we're inside of. So what we want to do is we want to find out where's that consequent encroachment level, right? That's that 50% right here. This is the consequent encroachment. So at 19,794, consequent encroachment of a big 4-hour bearish fair value gap, as well as a bearish breaker on the 4-hour, because we did have a high, a low, and a higher high, and then we displaced the low. So technically it is a bearish unicorn model on the 4-hour time frame. So we are just tapping into, this is technically the lowest down close candle, so we are tapping into that breaker right now. So this is a point of resistance that I would expect, especially off the 50% off the consequent encroachment. If we respect the consequent encroachment level of this 4-hour bearish fair value gap, then I would expect a reaction off of that level, right? If we respect it, I would expect us to come back down to the sell side. But if we're kind of pushing through that level, not respecting the consequent encroachment level, then I would expect a continuation up to our buy side liquidity above, right? So we can look at the buy side external liquidity all the way up here on the 4-hour. Right, so that's our buy side liquidity here, all the way up there. Okay, so we got a long ways to go if we're going to reach that. But let's go down to the hourly time frame real quick. There's another thing I wanted to point out. We do have equal lows that we generated down here on NQ. Look at these equal lows down here. And then we have this low here that got pretty close, never really came down and mitigated that low. But something to point out, right? Seeing equal lows like that we've generated, and then seeing a big pullback move. If we were going to react off that consequent encroachment of the 4-hour or off of that unicorn model, then this would be that sell side target that we would expect price to get to either this morning or this afternoon. I would expect it more, it just depends on what happens with the news, right? With Powell speaking today, it's going to play a major effect into the way the market moves today. And that's coming out at like 10 a.m. So it's only 30 minutes after market open. We have Powell speaking. It's that Jackson Hole Symposium. I don't even know what symposium even means. But yeah, so we have Fed Chair Powell speaking, we have new home sales, and then we have FOMC member Harker speaking, and then we have a bunch of other stuff after that. It's all FOMC members speaking today. So we're going to see a lot of volatility in this market. It's already a Friday, right? So today, and especially with the week that I've had this week, right? I'm very down. I'm very in the red. Today for me is going to be a day where I will sit on the sideline until I see it literally has to be amazing price action. It's got to be a very good A+ setup. You guys know me. That's already what I do wait for, but it's going to be emphasized even more on my end today. Okay, so let's look at the 1 hour again, and let's look at where our levels are up here. We do have a 1 hour SIBI right up here. So 1 hour bearish imbalance right here. So we could see price reaching up to that level. But again, what levels am I more focused on? The higher time frames, right? I'm focused on the 4 hour a little bit more. And when we pull out that fib, where's the 0.5? 0.5 is right here. But that 1 hour is in the golden zone of this fair value gap. So we could see, it's in the OTE, I should say, of that fair value gap. So we could see us retrace into the OTE, into that 1 hour SIBI before rejecting. Okay, so that 1 hour SIBI is the nearest hourly level or imbalance or, liquidity level that we are looking at. But really what I'm focused on is these equal lows. If we're going to have a bearish day today, then I would want to see us come down to those equal lows. But so far, all we've seen since last night, we can see right here, is bullish, 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 right? Everything has been up. So going into market open, my expectation would be a continuation of the upside until we do come back down, and break trend or break structure back to the downside. Okay, so looking at the 30-minute, we also have this 30-minute imbalance up here. Okay, big 30-minute imbalance up here. Same lines up with that hourly pretty much. And then 30-minute structure is pretty steep bullish structure here. So what we'd want to be waiting for on our, at market open is some breaks of structure or market structure shift to the downside if we were going to see the short step in. Otherwise, look at ES over here. ES is looking very bullish to me. We can see this. Let's see if we've already passed that consequent encroachment level on that 4 hour on ES. So we're already past that consequent encroachment. We just tapped into the OTE of that fair value gap. Okay, so if ES is pumping and leading the way, then I'd want to see ES or NQ do the same. But if ES is failing and it's really starting to bounce off of that OTE, right, then I'd want to see NQ start to reject as well. Okay, so that's the 30-minute. Then let's go down to the 15-minute time frame here. So we are in this 15-minute imbalance or basically a BPR here. Right, so if we look at this 15-minute, let's see if we've gone to the consequent encroachment. Well, look at that. We closed just under the consequent encroachment of that 15-minute, and we are starting to reject that exact level. So we could definitely see a continued rejection. And what we'd be looking for now at market open is to see, okay, are we going to come down and displace or inverse this 15-minute fair value gap and start to break structure and maybe form a bearish breaker, down here? Or are we going to trade into this imbalance and start to reject it and get a continuation of this trend? So basically my bias going into market open, to sum it up, is pretty open right now. It's kind of a loose bias. I don't really have a specific bias going into today. I'm really just going to be waiting for the market to tell me what it's going to do. I just want the market to show me what levels we are going to be respecting, if we're going to keep our bullish trend, or if we're going to come down and start to inverse some key levels like the 15-minute. Okay, so Asia highs are already been taken. We have Asia low all the way down here, down at 7:30 p.m. And then we have our London low. Let's see where London low is. Somewhere down here. Looks like it's at 2:15 a.m. So we've got London low right there. So we do have a lot of sell side levels. We are rejecting off the consequent encroachment of this 15-minute BPR, right? So that's what we're basically waiting to see, is what other reactions. Are we going to inverse? Are we going to continue this trend? 100%, right? That's what trading is. What Tony just said. Don't trade what you think, trade what you see, right? We're not here to predict the market. If we were going to predict the market all of the time, You just don't want to predict. You want to have a plan, and then you want to wait for the market to show you what it's going to do. And we are simply just reacting to what the market is giving us, right? We're observing the market and we are reacting to what the market allows us to do. Good question, Deep. Are you looking to take a trade before Powell speaks or after that? It just depends on our price action. It depends on our volatility. If we have a very good A+ setup before he speaks, then I might look to take that. If there's nothing, if there's bad price action, if we're chopping, then I will sit on the sidelines until he speaks and give it some time after that. So it really just depends what the market's showing us. But for those of you that are just joining, I did point out this level. We did form this bullish breaker, pretty much a unicorn here. I mean, this fair value gap's not overlapping the breaker, but we can see when we traded into that fair value gap, we did get a strong bounce back to the upside. But we are really selling off right now, leading into market open. So let's see what happens when we trade back into this breaker, because look, we had this low high, lower low, displacement of the highs, fair value gap created. So let's see, we're getting a lot of bearish momentum here. So now we want to see what kind of reaction we get off of this breaker, right? It was a very strong breaker before we formed this high. Now we have a swing high formed up here. So we do have some buy side up top. Okay, so all I'm going to be waiting for is to see what direction we're going to pick and what level of liquidity are we going for. Are we going for our sell side, like London low, Asia low? Or are we going to pump for our buy side of this range, like up here going into that 1 hour SIBI? Because if we look back at our higher time frames, right, this external range is pretty big. External high up here, external low down here. So what we have to figure out is, okay, if we're about at the 50% of this range, are we going to go for our sell side of the range or our buy side of the range? Okay, right now, what it would look like to me is that we'd go for our sell side because of what structure looks like. We generated more sell side liquidity here. We got a reversal pattern up here. We have a lot of bearish momentum, and then we have this retracement move up to near the consequent encroachment of this range. All right, if we look at that, we just got near that 50% of this range. Okay, so to me right now on the higher time frame, it looks like we would want to target our sell side of this range. So what do we need to find? Now we got to go down into our charts, and we got to look for our internal ranges and internal levels that are going to push us towards the external levels. All right, that's what I'm doing every single day. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for our sell side or our external range, and I'm looking for our internal ranges that are going to take us to the external. So right now we are going to see a lot of volatility, guys. You can already tell at market open we are seeing some crazy volatility. This market is going to really move today. It's going to really move today because we have a lot going on, a lot of news, and a lot of well, it's mainly just FOMC members speaking, right? And it's mainly Powell speaking. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. We already had news that came out pre-market, right? Not news, but we already had FOMC members speak pre-market. So just a lot going on. So we're just going to be patient. Again, we're going to be observers, and we are going to wait and see what this market does. So we're trading in further into this breaker block right here. So remember what I said. We need to look at this 15-minute, these two 15-minute fair value gaps. If we're going to come down and displace them, if we're going to come down and form a bearish breaker, if we take out that sell side level and we close below, we're getting a strong move down already at market open, but a lot of volatility here. A lot of volatility. All right, so are we going to form a 5-minute breaker? Are we going to form a 15-minute breaker? This is the key low to see if we displace this level. We would create that bearish breaker, and that's when I would expect us to come down, to come target London low, to come target Asia low, and to come target the bottom of the sell side range. All right, so that's my pre-market analysis. Now the market is open, and now we wait. Now we wait. ES, this low is getting taken out on ES as well. We have some equal lows here. Equal lows here being swept. All right, so it looks like we want to completely disrespect this bullish breaker as of right now, at least. We have to see what happens after we sweep the sell side. But these shorts do look like they are trying to step in. Remember, we did reach almost the 50% consequent encroachment of that external range. So we'd expect some kind of reaction off of that external range or off of that consequent encroachment, especially because we have looked very bearish. So now we just wait here and see if we get the confirmation we need to jump into a trade or not. Trading right back down to VWAP. Looking pretty bearish right now. Looks like we do want to break structure on that 5-minute time frame. We haven't closed below on this 1 minute yet. We do want to see us close below, definitely on the 1 minute time frame. Definitely on that 1 minute time frame, we would like to see us close below. So now I'm looking at this 1 minute fair value gap right here. If we trade into that, if we get a reaction off of that level, we still haven't closed below this though. We still haven't gotten that full displacement of these equal lows, which is what I would really want to see. And we have about 2 minutes until this 5 minute closes. Good morning, Frank. How you doing? All right, so far at market open, we are looking pretty bearish, but I need to wait for confirmation. The VIX is pumping. The VIX is pumping here. So I'm just waiting for, this 5 minute candle here, see what we do. See how this 5 minute closes. This 5 minute can close with displacement. All right, below this low, then that's when we're looking at this low as that breaker right there. This high, low, higher, high. And then we can use our fib here. All right, we can look at first standard deviation down here, second standard deviation, third standard deviation, so forth. We can look at our lows. Hey, there you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Very nice. All right, so we're about to close on the 5 minute in about 30 seconds. So I just want to see if we're going to close with displacement here, and then if we're going to come and test that breaker. All right, and I'd want to keep a stop above the breaker if we test it, and then I'd want to see us come down and target standard deviations or sell side liquidity down to London low. You could also wait for the 15 minute or the 10 minute to close, right? If you wanted to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more conservative. So a good level, all right, we already are bouncing off of that breaker, but a good level for us would be off of this 1 minute fair value gap right here that we're about to tap into. So like that, I want to see us bounce off this 1 minute fair value gap, get a rejection off that level, and then see us. I really want to see us reject. If I'm going to get an entry in the shorts here, I would need to see a very strong rejection. Right now, we're not seeing that yet. We are not seeing that rejection yet, so I don't get an entry. But we did form that breaker. We formed that reversal pattern on the 5 minute. We're just not seeing any kind of rejection. Okay, so still sitting on the sideline here until I start to see us really heading down. Need to see a very good rejection at this point. All right, so we're just kind of chilling in this level. And okay, here's something to note. We did not form that breaker on ES over here on that 5 minute time frame. And we're getting a lot of pullback on the VIX. So I'm going to be a little bit, more cautious here about these shorts as of right now, just because we're seeing on ES a failure to displace, and on the VIX we're seeing a lot of pullback to the downside. Okay, here we go. Now this is the reaction I want to start seeing here. This is the reaction I want to start seeing. But I want to see us inverse, you know, like a 1 minute fair value gap like this. If we can inverse this 1 minute bullish fair value gap and show that the shorts really do want to step in, I would definitely look to take a short here. Let's see if we can inverse that 1 minute. So no inverse so far. We're still respecting that 1 minute. We're really rejecting that level. So if that's the case, then I'll just stay on the sideline. I will stay on the sideline here. Okay, so still respecting that level. Still respecting it, still bouncing off of it. Ten-minute opening range is about to be created as well. So I'll just stay patient. I will stay patient here, guys. No reason for me to rush. Doing a little bit of chopping. What I would really need to see for some confirmation would be for the VIX to start pumping. Would be for us to inverse this 1 minute. Be maybe a little bit of SMT up here, which we did get a little bit of SMT. We got a little bit of SMT at the highs. I don't like that ES formed a BPR here, and it's actually rejecting that BPR. So, no trade right now. No trade right now. And this 5 minute's about to close too. This 5 minute could actually close above this breaker. And disrespect the breaker. So, we'll see if it does that here. Good morning, AZ Sunshine. How you doing? All right, I got about 10 seconds. About 10 seconds here. So I'm just chilling. Not taking a trade yet. All right, so we closed above the breaker. So the breaker has now been displaced, but we do have that fair value gap right above. Now we need to see if we're going to bounce off that fair value gap. 10-minute opening range is now created. No displacement on the 10-minute. And still no displacement, obviously, on the 15-minute because we still have 5 minutes left on that candle. Okay, so 5-minute fair value gap here. Another level that if we inverse, we could see these longs start to step in. Okay, so new sell side level at this low. No, my daily bias is I don't really have one today. It's very loose. My daily bias is really just waiting to see what the market shows me. Yeah, just crazy. A lot of Fed speakers today, so I'm really just coming into the day with, you know, being very conservative and no bias, just kind of waiting for what the market shows me. And again, what I've been talking about is this external range on the hourly from this low to this high. All right, and this is what I'm focused on. Are we more likely to come down to the sell side or the buy side? Well, that could be affected by our Fed speakers because they could really affect the way price moves today. But just looking at it here, okay, we've retraced to the consequent encroachment, right, of this hourly range, or just about. We haven't fully reached it. We're tapping into some higher time frame bearish breakers, and we have a bunch of equal lows generated liquidity down here. So my first instinct or my first idea would be that we'd come back down and try to target all this sell side liquidity. But again, we just have to wait for what the market shows us. And right now, the market's not showing us enough strength to the downside yet. All right, so this is our 10-minute opening range low. 10-minute opening range high. So if we break below this, you know, with some displacement, I'd be expecting those shorts to really step in. We are getting a strong rejection off of that 5-minute right now. Very strong rejection off the 5-minute. And now we're trading back into that 1-minute busy here. This 1-minute busy has been holding us. At this level. So we want to see, are we going to inverse our bullish fair value gap here or our bearish fair value gap here? If we come down and inverse this 1 minute, I would really be looking to, you know, possibly target a short position. We're getting a strong reaction off of that 5-minute bearish fair value gap. But I really want to see this 15-minute close below and form the 15-minute bearish breaker. So let's see if we're going to inverse here. We are trying to inverse this 1 minute right now. Okay, so about 20 seconds left. It looks like we're going to inverse this 1 minute bullish fair value gap here, and we're bouncing hard off that 5-minute. Very strong rejection off the 5-minute. We're right back to VWAP. So let's see if we do actually close below here and then come back and retest, or if we're just going to bounce. Like, that's a pretty strong bounce right there. Very strong bounce, and we still respect that fair value gap. So still sitting on the sideline, guys. Still sitting on the sideline. Came down and almost started to break below the 10-minute opening range, as well as the 5-minute opening range there. Okay. Yeah, 15-minute busy right here is being respected. What I'm really focused on right now, though, is this low right here. Is the 15-minute going to close below right now and form this 15-minute bearish breaker? This level right here. Are we going to close below? We're also getting, you know, we've been getting some SMT at the highs. Okay, so we still closed inside here, but this opened below. Okay, and we displaced that 1 minute finally. We finally displaced that 1 minute. So let's see if we're going to get a reaction off this level or not. So technically the 15-minute closed inside and did not close below. But look how this candle opened. That candle opened below the breaker. So now, no matter what now, it is going to disrespect or that low. It's going to technically close below that low. So now we want to see a reaction off of this inverse 1 minute here. And the VIX is still bullish, but it's still having a lot of pullback. And there's still a lot of chop in the market. A lot of chop. Not really bouncing off of that inverse right now on the 1 minute time frame. We just continue to chop. We did generate some more sell side though. So now what I'd want to see after generating some sell side is come up and grab this buy side high right here and then reverse right back down to the sell side. All right, because every time we come down and test a low and we don't break it and we generate more liquidity, and now there's a liquidity level above, I want us to trade back up and grab that buy side and then target our sell side. So just another day that we really need to stay patient. Really this day especially. Today especially is a day we got to stay patient. So now our 15-minute opening range has been created here. Very choppy consolidation right now. Trading back into that 5-minute SIBI. I want to see if we're going to go target that high. I want to see if we're going to target that high and grab buy side and then reverse, maybe bounce off this fair value gap above, off of that order block above. Yeah, we do have Papa Pal speaking at 10 a.m. So it's coming up pretty soon. About 13 minutes. So, yeah, again, we're seeing the volatility already. We're seeing the chop. Most people are definitely waiting for him to speak, waiting to hear what he has to say. Okay, so we're back into that 5-minute. Let's see if we're going to grab this buy side level and start to reject. Remember, our opening range high is up here on the 15-minute time frame. So if we're going to break above that level, then we could expect the longs to start stepping in. One-minute order block. Testing that 1-minute order block right now. All right, and if we inverse this 5-minute, we could see a strong continuation to the upside. I don't know if there's a setting that does that, Frank. But what you can do is you can just see what data, you can see the numbers that come out, and then you can basically just look it up and say, okay, what does this mean? What does it mean if PPI comes out red or PPI comes out green, right? Because it'll tell you the number, and then you can look it up. All right, so these longs are starting to step in here. Still have those lows down there. We are seeing some SMT divergence at the highs. Let's see, we're about to inverse this 5-minute bearish fair value gap right now. See if we inverse it and then come back down and test it and try to reach this high. So we inversed it. We inversed that 5-minute. So let's see if we're going to come back down and test it. 1-minute fair value gap below. 5-minute inverse. So the market really has not been giving us anything good yet. The market has not really been giving us any good setups yet, in my opinion. I've been analyzing this, very closely, and there's just not really anything that I would want to take right now. All right, we haven't broken out of any of our 15 or 10-minute opening range. We haven't traded above or below. Yeah, it might be best if we do stay out of the market before Powell speaks. Okay, well, we just traded into that 1-minute. Let's see if we start to expand off of this 1-minute. And start to break above our opening range high and go target some buy side. Maybe if we actually test that inverse. If we actually test this inverse fair value gap down here. And that'd be kind of something we're looking for. But I still don't really like the idea right now of taking a trade while we're still inside of our opening range. Don't really love that idea. So we're testing that inverse, and let's see if we actually bounce off of it or if we trade right through it. Looks like we are trying to trade right through it already, right? We still have those equal lows down here. Right, so a lot of bearish momentum stepping back in. Let's see what kind of reaction we're going to get off this inverse. Right now, it does not look like we want to react off of it. Well, we're trading right through it. We are trading right through it, right? So we did come up and grab this buy side like I said, and I did want to see us come back and target this sell side down here. But after seeing this inverse that 5 minute, didn't give me as much conviction. Did not give me as much conviction in seeing these shorts come back in. But here they go. Okay, the VIX is starting to pump now. We're inversing in 1 minute now. Alright, so this is now when I would want to see these shorts start to come back and take out those equal lows. But again, we're still just kind of ranging up and down. We're still a little bit choppy. Still a little bit choppy, and we did just make a higher low. We're making higher highs. So still not really in, a rush to jump into a trade. We did just tap into that inverse, and we're rejecting the inverse. But no fair value gap created here on the 1 minute. And now we're getting closer and closer to, Powell speaking. 1 minute fair value gap created here on ES. We did get some SMT at the lows. So it's just a lot of back and forth. A lot of back and forth and not really anything clean right now. We're still just sitting inside of this opening range. Still sitting inside of that opening range. We are rejecting that. We did just reject that inverse pretty hard. So we got about 40 seconds left on the 5 minute time frame. We did reject that inverse on the 5 minute. But as long as we're still chilling inside of this opening range, I'm still going to sit on the sideline right now. So just about 5 minutes until Powell speaks. So what I think would be best is for us to just sit on the sideline until he speaks, and then see what price action looks like after that. Yeah, but structure right now on the 1 minute, we're starting to turn bullish. We obviously haven't broken structure really, or gotten a market structure shift back to the upside yet. But we are creating higher highs, higher lows. And we did trade into an inverse and rejected that inverse pretty hard. And that 15 minute is not respecting this breaker whatsoever. We're not really creating that breaker. Long wicks on the hourly. Very long wicks on the hourly. So, yeah, these longs are stepping back in. See if we start to break out of that opening range. Just created a 1 minute fair value gap here. Looks like the market makers are trying to mess with us. Yeah, exactly, Deep. Exactly. That's what the goal is right now. Grab a bunch of liquidity, liquidize a bunch of traders, grab all these people that are trying to force entries here while we're chopping up and down. And then once he starts speaking, that's when the volatility starts to happen. That's when the move starts to happen. All right, so now 1 minute fair value gap. Okay, let's see if we respect this. So far, we have not been respecting like any of our 1 minute levels, fair value gap levels. All right, not whatsoever. We're still inside of our opening range, and now we have about 3 minutes until Powell speaks. So I'll say it again. I'm just going to stay on the sideline for right now. Because look, every time we create a 1 minute fair value gap, boom, we trade right through it. We come right back down to the lows. So I'd rather just not get involved in this. I would rather not get involved in this right now. I don't know about you guys, but no, I'm good with sitting on the sideline. I'm good with being the bench warmer right now. You know, I'll be the water boy. I'll go bring the water to the guys that are out on the field. Yeah, you guys are doing great. You guys are doing a really good job out there. Keep it up. You're only losing 50-0. You can come back. Bobby Boucher. The Abdullah Oblongata. Mama said that foosball for the devil. So just chop, chop, chop. We got about 1 minute and 15 seconds until Papa Powell speaks. We need a big countdown. Need a big countdown clock for whenever Powell speaks. And we can all yell 10, 9. And then whatever numbers go after that, I don't really know. All right, guys. So, again, we looked for an A-plus setup this morning. We waited for confirmation, and we never got our confirmation, and we never got an A-plus setup. So, we stay disciplined. When you have a tough week like you have, what do you personally do? Not let it affect you and get back in the game. Fantastic question, Jack. There's a few things. So, what I told myself yesterday. I said, all right, this week is over with. I already know I know that I am a good trader, and that's not me trying to sound prideful or egotistical. I know that I'm a good trader. All right, that's for me, that's a fact. So having one bad week does not affect me and make me think that I'm a bad trader. So all I have to do is just have a mental reset. Wow, look at this market pumping. And this is why we stay out of the market right now, guys. This is why we stay out of the market, because of this volatility. Just watch, it's going to come right back down. Woo. Ooh, look at that. Look at that pump. It's pumping it real good right now. Pumping it real good. All right, so we are trading higher and higher. Hate to say it, but I got that. Hey, don't hate to say it. I mean, if you had good risk management, as long as you had good risk management, you know, that's what truly matters. All right, stop loss was at break even. That's good risk management. That's, you know, you probably would have caused some slippage if it did come back down the opposite way. But as long as you're okay with that, then that's, you know, it's fine. All right, so this one is not coming back, actually. This one's really expanding. Obviously, the market's going to go wild whenever Powell speaks, especially when we are on the verge of rate cuts pretty soon. Next month, right? So now we're trading into that hourly. SIBI up above. Probably in the hourly. I'm sure a lot of people gambled that right there. I'm sure a lot of people gambled that. Yeah, see, like, news, guys, I've been through it. I've done it in the past, right? Where I've gambled news. And I always thought, oh, this is such a good idea. I'm going to make so much money. And yeah, maybe every once in a while when I would gamble news, I would make one good trade. And I'd make much money. But guys, that is just not, like, personally, it's not a real trade to me unless you literally know exactly what's going to happen, which none of us really do, in my opinion. Right? It's just, it's a gamble. It's truly a gamble. All right, so this one is pumping hard, guys. And we haven't had any pullback. No pullback. So let's see what happens once we tap into this hourly. Not a bad idea, Matthew. Not a bad idea. Trading micros is definitely a smart idea today. Okay, so this one's not even coming back right now. This one's just pumping. Is anybody listening to Powell? Has he even started talking yet? I don't even want to listen because it's always the same stuff. He's always just saying the same thing. 100%. Exactly what Omar said. It really is a gamble. 15-minute OB up here. All right, so now looking at this range. All right, so now we are into the OTE of this hourly range. Yeah, most evals don't allow you to trade the news. Most evals will not allow you to trade the news. Or evals, most, yeah, like prop firm evals, or just prop firms in general. Okay, so we're trading back into a fair value gap here. I still don't even trust trading this right now, guys. I don't. I do not trust this right now. You know, even if we're going to reject off this 1 minute fair value gap, still don't even trust getting in the longs or taking a trade right now. All right, let's look at this 1 minute range we just created after news. Okay, we got our 50% right here in this fair value gap. So let's see if we want to come back down to that 50%. Because, like, here's the deal, guys. Let's say you do want to long from here. Let's say you want to long off this fair value gap. Where are you truly going to put your stop? Because there really is no good level to put your stop unless it's all the way down here. Truly. Right? So, again, what I like to wait for is for retracement back into a discount of a range. I know we are in silver bullet hour, but the news is definitely going to change some things. The news is not going to really respect, you know, silver bullet hour usually. So we'll see. This one could definitely keep pumping from here. I'm not saying it won't keep pumping. It could. But it doesn't mean I'm just going to jump into the longs. Okay, we are rejecting that hourly right now. But this thing is holding pretty strong here. Holding pretty strong. Starting to stall a little bit. So the high of this hourly range is all the way up here at 20,025.25. Okay, bullish breaker has been created here. Bullish breaker has technically been created with the low high, lower low displacement of the highs. Right there on the 5 minute. Possibly on the 15 minute. And now we're starting to get the pullback. Okay, so remember, looking at this range. Okay, now we're back down to the discount of this range here. So if we were going to pump, this is where we'd want to see it start happening. Again, off that 5 minute breaker. But yeah, I don't really mind staying out of this for now. All right, we're reacting off the breaker. So even if I wanted to get an entry here, I would still be waiting for, you know, a better level to get an entry off of. But we did just reject that. We just rejected that breaker pretty hard there. We did just reject that breaker pretty hard. Let's see what other buy side levels we have up here. Not a ton of buy side levels. Do have a little bit of a swing high up here. Okay, it does look like these longs want to continue here. It does look like they want to keep pumping off that breaker. But just again, where would we put our stop here? We'd have to keep it just under this level here. It's just not really a trade that I like to take. Still just not enough for me to want to get an entry here. At least not yet. But these longs do look like they're going to continue. They do look like they're going to continue. And guys, to be honest with you, maybe if I was green on the week, I had a pretty good week, maybe I would be willing to risk a little bit and be more, aggressive here. Try to target the longs right now. But with the week I've had, you guys know, it has not been a good week. It's been a very bad week for me. So I'm already in the red, so I'm not going to be too aggressive. But let's say you are in the green on the week and you want to be a little more aggressive. Well, we came down into the OTE of this range. We bounced off of a 5-minute bullish breaker. We just inversed a 1-minute bearish fair value gap. Right? So you could look to long this. You just want to have a good entry. You want to have a very solid entry. Because we are very volatile. But, we bounced exactly off of that breaker. So that's exactly what you'd want to see. That is what you'd want to see. But I'm not looking to be too aggressive. So I'll just continue to wait here. You longed up to 0.618 of the fib. There you go. There you go. Yeah, these longs look good. I'm telling you, they do look good. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. So what I would expect them to go to would be, all right, second standard deviation of the breaker. And then to this high up here. Right, and if you'd want to see a continuation all the way up to that hourly high, up to our external range high. That's what you'd want to see price target. All right, so these longs are really pumping. Anybody else getting the longs as well? Anybody else getting the longs? Anybody else be a little more aggressive than me today? Yeah, you heard me talk about the longs, right? I talked about them off of that breaker. I talked about them right here once we inverse that 1 minute. So the longs are there, 100%. If you're feeling aggressive, there is opportunity to take. Let's see if this one comes back here. Hey, there you go, Greg. There you go. There we go. All right, so we have this little 1 minute fair value gap down here. Let's see if, silver bowl levels are going to be respected. If we're going to trade back into that 1 minute. We're also creating a 2 minute here. 2 minute busy. So we've got some more levels here that we could see price come back down and target. And we're almost going to get some SMT here. ES is almost at the top of this range already. All right, so we just created a 2 minute fair value gap, 1 minute fair value gap down here. Let's see if we want to come target it. And then get a rejection off of it. See, that's great, AZ Sunshine. And again, that right there, what she just said that's everything. She said, as I learn more about my style, I realize I just want A+ setups. High risk, I'll sit out. That's what my whole goal here is, for you guys to understand and learn your own style, create your own style, and realize what you like to trade. Because you might maybe want to trade a little bit differently than me, or maybe you do want to trade exactly like me, right? So it's just about creating your own style of trading and sticking to that style and sticking to that plan. If you don't like, this crazy volatility, you don't like this higher risk price action, then stay out. If you like it and you're good at scalping, you like to scalp more, and you like to be a little more risky, then this is a great time to trade for you, right? So just depending on your own style. Everybody's going to trade a little bit differently. That's what's so cool about trading. Everybody has a unique trading style. And what we can do is we can emulate our style based off of others and then kind of formulate our own little style based off of that. And I think that's kind of the way to go, is and I'm sure that's why most of you are here. It's because you want to maybe emulate my style of trading, but then make it unique into your own style. So I love that you said that. That's what it's really all about. Okay, so I'm waiting to see if we're going to get some pullback here. About to close on the 15. We have a few imbalances below. We got a 2 minute imbalance below, a 1 minute imbalance below. So I want to see if we're going to come back and retest those levels. Very strong pullback here on that 5 minute. Very strong pullback here. We didn't tap into either the 1 minute or the 2 minute. Thank you, Frank. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I agree. I agree with you. Okay, so now we're tapping into the 1 minute and the 2 minute here. Very strong pullback on that 5 minute candle. And on the 15 minute candle, where we bounced very quickly off those levels. So even if I really wanted to get an entry there, they didn't really give me a chance. Didn't really give me a chance there. So that one ran away pretty quick. I also don't really like how that 5 minute closed. But again, if this one runs away, well, I was wanting to get an entry from down here, but this one bounced so fast that even if I tried to get an entry on a market order, I probably would have gotten filled a little too high on that one. That would have been one where I'd want to have a limit order there. But I'm also not going to set a limit order when we have such an aggressive move down. All right, so we bounced off that 1 minute and that 2 minute very hard. Very hard rejection there. Candles are looking pretty good. So the longs look like they want to break out again. Remember, we just hit that first standard deviation, or second standard deviation, sorry, of that breaker. Looks like we're going to go for our next buy side level here. Looks like we're going for our next buy side level. I'm not too sure if he's done speaking. I haven't been watching. Okay, we're really rejecting that second standard deviation level pretty hard. Pretty hard rejection here. Back into that 1 minute and that 2 minute, but we are really coming down. Really coming down now. A lot of volatility here, guys. Inverse that 1 minute completely. right, so this is why I don't like to be too aggressive. Yeah, we had an order block right at those highs. We do have an order block right at those highs. Now we're coming back down into the breaker here, pretty close to it. It's 15 minutes coming all the way back down into the bullish breaker right here on the 15 minute as well. Let's see if we're going to break structure back to the downside. And this is what happens. This is what can happen on a day like today, right? When we have Fed speakers, we have Papa Powell. It's stuff like this, right? Just crazy move up, crazy move down. And this is why I usually prefer to sit on the sideline on moves like this. Okay, so we did wick above. We are still reacting off of a few imbalances below. We are the bench warmers today. I am 12. All right, so ES is pulling back pretty hard too. Let's see what the VIX is doing. VIX is starting to pump a little bit. So, yeah, I'm okay with sitting on the sideline right now, guys. I'm okay with it. No FOMO for me. No FOMO over here. Yeah, for real. For real. Okay, 1 minute bearish for value gap here. We just tapped into it. Getting a strong reaction off of that level. Yeah, I still don't trust this market right now. I really don't trust this market right now, guys. I really do not. Love that, Deep. Really love that perspective right there. Love that perspective. Taking a win or a loss, if it doesn't impact you, it means you are on the right path. Completely agree. Completely agree. That's when you know you're starting to detach yourself from the money. You have to detach yourself from the money completely. If you are trying to make money, you are not going to make money. It's as simple as that. If you are constantly trying to make money trading, you will not make money. If that's all you're focused on is making money, you're not focused on the right thing. You have to focus on the process of trading. You have to almost fall in love with the process of trading. You have to fall in love with the skill, with the discipline. And if you can forget about making money and you can stick to that process and that discipline, the money, I don't want to promise it to you, but I'm telling you, it will come. It will happen. It will happen. But everybody that focuses on trying to make money, you're not going to have a clear mindset. You're going to be way too attached to the outcome of your trades and the outcome of every single day. How do you expect to have a consistent, to be consistently profitable if you're so focused on the outcome that it basically takes control of your trades? You have to just stick to a process, stick to a plan, and once you can do that, you just let the rest happen. And in due time, with your studying of your strategy, with your constant improvement on your psychology and constant improvement on your risk management, good things can definitely happen. But the biggest mistake I see, and it's the biggest mistake I've seen with myself, is when I've tried to make money and I focus on the money, I never make money. Never. right? The most money you will make from trading is when you can completely detach yourself from it, like from the aspect of the outcome. Just focus on what you're doing. Focus on the present. Focus on each single trade you take and how you stuck to your plan, how you stuck to everything that you told yourself you were going to do. Win or lose, you can be happy about it. You can be content with what happens. But what you really got to stop doing is setting like a goal of what profit you want to make or a goal of what number you want to make, in the future. Stop setting that goal. Just completely get rid of that mindset. I'm telling you, it will change things for you. If you tell yourself, I'm going to make $10,000 next month, do you really think you're going to make $10,000? Right? Don't have that goal of a specific dollar amount you're trying to make. Just tell yourself, can I stick to this process and can I stay disciplined for the next 3 months? Right? And if you can do that, you know how much closer you're going to be to making money in 3 months instead of telling yourself that next month you're going to make 10,000. Because then you start forcing trades, you start forcing these ideas that aren't really happening because you're so focused on making that 10,000 that eventually, you're probably going to be down a few thousand or whatever. That's the way I see it. And I truly believe that. I saw somewhere that trading is the hardest way to make easy money. Everyone agree? I completely agree with that. Completely agree. That's a great statement. It's the hardest way to make easy money. I love that. Because it is such a hard thing to do, and we're lying to ourselves if we say it's easy. It's such a hard thing to do, guys. It is. But once you've figured it out, and once you have figured out your process, and you stay disciplined to that process every single day, it becomes so easy. It becomes so natural. And yeah, you're going to have terrible weeks like I had this week. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Right? But you just can't let it set you back. You just got to realize it's a part of the game. That's why, I'll go back to what Jack was asking earlier. I didn't get to finish my thoughts. I know that losing is a part of the game, so when it happens to me, I'm not taken aback. I'm not surprised, I expect myself to win, I do. But at the end of the day, I know that losses are going to happen, and I know that some weeks are going to suck. And this was one of those weeks. So what I just do is I have to actually take a big step back. Like after today, I am going to spend this day just not even thinking about trading whatsoever, guys. Like today, I'm going to not think about trading. My mind will be in a completely different place. Right? I will take my mind off of trading completely because I just need that break, right? That little reset after having a tough week. I'll just take it off. I'll be like, okay, I can think about putting this week behind me. That's it. Once I close my computer today, this week is behind me and the next week is on. You cannot live in the past. If I sit here on Monday and you keep hearing me talking about last week, and you hear me talking negatively, what do you think is going to happen next week? Right? It's probably going to be similar to this week. So what I focus on is on Monday, I'm not even going to talk about, maybe I'll bring it up for a lesson or something about, trades we took or something like that, but I'm not going to talk about it in a negative way whatsoever. I'm not going to bring any negative energy to the table. It's only going to be positive energy pushing us forward. Because by Sunday or by Saturday, this week will be completely behind me. And it's over. And I already have come to terms and I'm already have that understanding that this week sucked, right? It sucked. It was not a good week for me whatsoever. Okay? But I know, and it's that who I am as a trader, I know who I am as a person. So how am I going to let that carry on to the next week or affect my character or my trading discipline? I'm not going to, right? So I'll leave it at that. That's kind of how I deal with these things. That's how I talk to myself and how I move on from a week like this. Oh, yep. You can always hit me with a good Lion King quote. Love that. Okay, so just back to the charts real quick. You know, we're still looking pretty bullish right now. We are still looking pretty bullish. But we're doing a lot of range, right? We're ranging a lot here. A lot of up and down. You know, I don't really love this price action right now. Unless you are really catching it at the bottom, at the top. You know, this is not really the price action that I prefer to trade. Because what are we doing? Well, we're creating these fair value gaps, and yes, we respect them sometimes. But then, after a few minutes, we come back down, we completely run right through those levels. Just very volatile. Play some reggae, you say. We could play some reggae. So I'm still going to be looking at the charts for setups, guys. I still want to see if we're going to have a good setup to trade. Yeah, I've been last week or 2 weeks ago I listened to a lot of them. Not a ton, but I did listen to a few different songs. I really do like them. I do really like them. Let me see. Let me pull them up real quick. Let me see if there's my favorites are. I honestly think that so far, I mean, their most popular song has been my favorite, but that's because that's what I've listened to the most, Your House. I think it's a banger. I think I have to do a deeper dive to figure out, you know, all the other songs that I really like. I've probably listened to maybe 10 songs of theirs. Maybe 10 songs, so I'll get back to you when I do a deeper dive. Alright, so, okay, these longs are starting to pump. We're starting to actually displace here. Starting to get a little bit of displacement. Alright, so right now what I'm really just waiting for, guys, is to see like a real displacement move. Real displacement move, and then a nice pullback into a good level to jump into the longs. Because even right now, I still don't completely trust them. A lot of stalling at the 15 and 5 minute order blocks. So that 0.5 level is all the way down here. Alright, we're bouncing off that 1 minute fair value gap pretty hard here. So we'd want to catch it up to that next liquidity level up here at like 19,915.50. Yes, I have heard that song, Frank. I'll play it actually. I haven't listened to that for a little bit. I think I've heard it, right? Yes, I have definitely heard the song.
Now greetings to the world. Vice of the one big gang still alongside Skrillex. Them for no.
Ooh, that's a good question, John.
Oh,
I haven't heard this song in forever.
mash up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And we will end your week just like a Sunday. We mash up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun. Skrillex ablaze the fire, make it fun them. We mash up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And we will end your week just like a Sunday.
Mine is probably Creation of Earth. Okay, so now we're getting a strong retracement. This is why I still don't trust the longs yet, but I want to see if we're going to come back down and bounce. We're trading into a 3 minute, into a 2 minute, and into a 1 minute imbalance here. We inverse that 1 minute there. Let's see if we're going to come back down to the discount of this range. Okay, we're now in the discount of this range. So this could be a long entry. I just don't like, there's not really a 1 minute level to long off of here. But we do have this 2 minute imbalance we're bouncing off of. 3 minute imbalance we're bouncing off of. I'm down with the sickness. It's a great song. Okay, so guys, right now I'm still expecting longs here. We did retrace back down to a discount of this little dealing 1 minute range. But what I wait for on these kinds of moves is for us to inverse a 1 minute, like this 1 minute fair value gap, trade above it, come back and retest it, and then I would look for a long. All right, see if we come back and retest it, take the longs up to that high. We're not inversing it, so I stay out. We're also getting a lot of pullback on this 1 hour right now. Back into this hourly bearish fair value gap. And we're not respecting, we're respecting that bearish fair value gap there. We're coming all the way back down. So, again, this is why I just don't really trust this market right now. Do not trust this market right now. Yes, Frank, that's crazy you say that because I actually used to listen to that all of the time. I actually listened to that as a kid, and I thought that that was the original version. I always thought that that was the original version. And then when I heard it's what, Simon Garfunkel, right? When I heard their version, I was like, wait, what? Is this the original? Yeah, I used to love that song. Man, I haven't listened to that in ages. It's been a while. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Okay, so we came down. We bounced off that 1 minute bearish fair value gap. Trade into a 1 minute bullish fair value gap. So just in this range right now, I don't really want to take a trade in this range. All right, we're just ranging back and forth. I am okay with just sitting out right now. Let's see, down here on the 3 minute. We disrespected that 3 minute fair value gap. Disrespected the 2 minute fair value gap. We disrespected the one up here. So it looks like these shorts are going to try and step back in down to the low. All right, so yeah, I don't know about you guys, but this price action right now does not really make me want to jump into a trade. That's just me. What about you guys? Are you guys like itching to take a trade right now? Or are you guys good with just chilling out, sitting on the sideline? Okay, so I think we're all in the same boat. I think a lot of us probably want to take a trade. We probably do. But as long as we're staying patient, we got to wait for that perfect setup. Itching for the Dolphins game tonight. Is Tanner playing tonight? Big chillin'. Hey, Christopher. All right, we're coming back down again. Let's see if we bounce off this order block here, if we're going to start to really push through it, of all these order blocks. Yeah, respect that. I'll have to throw that game on. I think my team is going to suck this year, guys. So I'm going to rely all of my happiness in the football season on fantasy football. Ooh, an EE fantasy football league would actually be pretty sick. Ooh, okay. I like that idea. I say we do that. That'd be fun. College Pick'em would be cool. I've still never done a College Pick'em group. Well, we'd have to do that like today. College starts tomorrow. Alright, RC Coin. Good staying patient today. Oh, Pick'em starts. Oh, yeah, I guess this is kind of like week 0 almost, huh? How many people in here right now would play in a fantasy football league if we did one for EE? That'd be pretty fun. All right, we got 2 people. 2 people are in. Yeah, you got to pass that trophy on to the next winner. Oh, by the way, guys, we updated the website. If you guys would like to go check out the website and kind of give us your feedback, would be awesome. Let us know what you think about it. If it looks clean. Braden has been putting in some work on that thing. Been coming up with some different ideas. Thank you, John. Yeah, eetrading.org. If you guys want to let us know what you think. Also, if you want to leave a review, hey, feel free to do so. Feel free to do so if you want to leave a review on WAP. It's okay if you don't. I understand. My feelings won't get hurt. Maybe just a little bit. And then, don't forget, we are having our Prop Firm giveaway today. Right after this. And we will probably do that pretty soon. If we're not going to have price action that's good, then I'll just stay on the sideline. Because right now, we are just ranging back and forth. I don't really like this price action very much. Maybe if we give it a little bit of time, we might see something better. But I just don't really... This is not price action that makes me want to risk any capital right now. Okay, so how about we do this? Right now, I plan on staying on the sideline right now. I don't see any setups I like. I don't like this price action. So, John, if you are ready, we can hop on and we can do this prop firm giveaway. We could do this prop firm giveaway right now. Okay, we're going to give John 2 minutes and then we're going to do the prop firm giveaway.